What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Cousin Cecil Show. I'm your host, Mike Fowler, aka Cousin Cecil, where I'm obviously coming to give you some video game knowledge, comic knowledge, even some movie news. I know I'm still trying to figure out this fucking show because, behind the veil, video game news is just boring. And the idea of if you don't have I have a passion for video games, but I don't have a passion to pick a side of to say this is bad, this is good, and because you're gonna play whichever you want to play, and I'm gonna play whatever I'm gonna play. So I'm just more saying it like that, and I'm also testing this because I'm in a new area of recording. All right, and then also after a little pause and listen back, the new recording sounds good. Nothing tells you that you're in a happy relationship more than the hobby you want to do in a house that you both share is in a cubbyhole or maybe the basement of said house instead of in a nice room that you could have for your own recordings. But that's another I digress story. But yeah, back to that little gaming little manifesto that I'm talking about was just more, it's been a little rough week, especially for a PlayStation fan. So maybe that's why I'm also feel like a spiral about the video games. And also because we are definitely getting the rippling effect of the pandemic with some these delay of games. But no, we're gonna kick good, and we're gonna have a good show, and let's get into more what I've been. We're not gonna call it what I've been playing. I'm gonna be what I've been doing, but I am gonna start with playing. Still some Fortnite, and then one more thing I did play a little bit of my Disco Elysium, and at this current state, it is okay. I played it before. I just saw that there was maybe 1 or 2 patches to help with the console edition. But before that, it seems okay. And also, more to touch base for what I said prior about some things, they didn't say the bad F word about in a way that I was heard. Again, they bleep it. They're not bleep it they mute it. They just have the F and all asterisks in the text, and it's bad. But also at the same time, this is supposed to be making a child. When I say a child, a punk kid who's going to say some vile shit. So okay, in context, now I understand why Games Media, even though Games Media is biased, Games Media didn't situation. Probably because also it's so quick, it happens, it's in your first little situation of the crime of, because, Disco Elysium is basically a top-down detective noir with the idea of also using D&D stats to get shit done. So the idea of if you had more intelligence, maybe you're able to persuade bystanders and witnesses a little bit better. If you are even if you were better looking, maybe it also help. You could also be you can add attachments to your traits, so you can be like a hobo police officer. So there's a part which is not spoilers. There's a part you have to look in a dumpster, and then you also get an additional conversation piece like I am the hobo policeman. This looks good, and all this stuff. So there's so much multi-layered, and the idea I do like it. I just haven't had time to want to sit down so I can listen to the game since that first playing. But I like also I went all straight 3s for my stats. Maybe that's not good. Maybe that's not bad. We'll see how it goes down the road. But what is it? I like it, and also I don't even know what I'm doing in the sense. I do like the mental conversation that is created with the your mind in the game, which is pretty interesting. Like I see why you got some rewards. I don't think your self inner thoughts got as much rewards as it should in the conversations. But yeah, and then also what is it? I also like there's a moment you get your actual filing of, like, you know, your police file of this situation, because you wake up in a blackout drunk and you have no idea what's going on. You don't even know who you are, and that's it's a lot. It's a lot of info dump, and I think it might goes into what I'm going to be talking about. There also is going to be a spoiler. There's going to be a bonus episode Wednesday. I'm not going to say more, but it's obviously another comic one. Just very fortunate of my situation. I got to read a new issue that is going to be in the hot picks, and also I'm going to get to talk to the author, illustrator, in his little one-man comic, and it's a pretty neat story. But that, back to Disco, is because there's so much info dump, and this is from a group from a different country. This is more of the Eastern Europe country. This gentleman I'm talking to tomorrow is from Argentina. But I digress. Back to Disco. It is fun, but another thing that kind of surprised me, and like what I need to that Thanos phrase. I think I was mean to you too early. PS Now updated for this month because we just got our PS Plus games. Oh, I did play Oddworld, and that is pretty good too. But PS Now has Marvel's Avengers, and then the media wanted to make it, PlayStation only put the PS4 versions of these games. You know what you're going into. But the PS Now version does still have you can still do like 4K 30 or the frame rate version. So I'm doing the frame rate version, and I might have judged it too harshly because of the demo, but also like how the demo portrayed like the story of it. But I'm also going to say with a grain of salt also, like, I'm more want to withdraw, it wasn't like, I ain't going to touch this thing. It's not bad. Granted, does the idea of getting in there for free help? Yes. I have no idea what is to look into for the brain fart, that your shit you put on your body. Like, I don't care about the chest plate, I don't care about your wrist guards, I don't care about fucking shin guards. Like, I have no clue what is about it. I just look for the highest number and put it on my character. And also more for the crowd. I only got to the end of the demo of like what you played in the demo. It just felt smoother because you also get to play obviously the main game gives you how Miss Marvel gets the information to go find Bruce Banner, which is different, and that's good. But I also only did one mission from that table. So I did this one that's like a snow world, and that's it. I haven't got a chance to play it since, but I'll go back to it. I just haven't had time because also like I've just been busy because it goes into this next thing. What I've been doing, I've been reading comic books, as you've been assuming, with all the tweets and like the trying to get exposure of just trying to do what's good for me and a brand. But I've been able to read a lot, and then I wanted just more for like a test run of this. I got into DC's The Swamp Thing through the Infinite Frontier era of books, and it's being written by a man named Ram V. And I put it on Twitter, and also I really like it. There is some things that I don't know if maybe it's how people like to write now, so that it can kind of I don't want to say the word stretch, but like, extend this story a little bit longer than it needs. But the Swamp Thing is a good introduction and also opportunity for any new reader to get into the Swamp Thing universe. Because which I didn't know this going in, which because I'm deaf and I also just haven't looked into it. There's a new character. There's a new person being the Swamp Thing. If you've ever watched the lead, now it's deleted because it's not even on HBO Max no more. But that the Swamp Thing that was on DC Universe app before they switched back to just comics. That was the more regular known Swamp Thing, Alec. I just can't remember his last name, but obviously that story of like from down south swamp, and he got the green on him and all that shit. This one is a mystery that we're learning together. We just know that the new Swamp Thing is this guy named Levi Kamani. I think it's Kamani because, and this is also different. He got the Swamp Thing powers through a swamp in India, and they've been showing flashbacks involves like his brother and his family of what's going on, but we have not known exactly yet. But the part that I really enjoy is the last time Swamp Thing was on a series run was when Scott Snyder, who he back when New 52 was he did the Batman, so that's when we got like the good Court of Owls, but he did a series for Swamp Thing, which then later got canceled because just for some reason people like to say they love Swamp Thing, but no one can ever buy a goddamn book when it's an ongoing series. But the thing I like about the ongoing current Ram V run of Swamp Thing, there's only been 2 issues, but he did get to do the future state, and he's also he's been running. I'm actually more pat on the back for Ram V. That man has. I'm not saying that's not normal, but just the idea of I'm just in my head. I'm thinking, whoa, that man has maybe 7 books coming out or is going on at the same time. Some are indie, some are even Marvel. Like I saw that he has like a Carnage comic coming out. In fact, this Wednesday. But he put the dream nightmarish back into Swamp Thing, which that's why I think I appreciate it, because that show that was canceled, and granted, hear me out before it might be in the sand of lines in the sand, but that show was dark, and the show had some scary moments, and not like for me, but like the idea of it's just very good to see some dark back into Swamp Thing, and I like that he wrote this Swamp Thing because I'll say it more as a behind the, not like that. I'm not going to spoil it, but the first 2 issues involve one villain, and it's not a real villain because Swamp Thing kind of involves fighting mythical creatures or urban legends. So I was going to call this guy if you've seen Supernatural, like a Wendigo, or whatever it's called. And because it's a creature that used to be a man, and but the way that Ram describes it and talks it, and then whoever is the artist offhand, I can't remember, but he does a great job too. But the way that they describe and they illustrate it into when they talk about because it's this guy becomes it was a human back when mining the gold back in the desert shit. And so this guy, they describe his eyes are now just 2 squares of gold, or 2 balls of gold, and his oil, you see in his veins is run by crude oil that he's found during the year. Wow, and it just has a nice illustrated description. The only part that for me, because also I want to, when I think of a new, or like this is like a revamp, or the idea like how New 52 was, where you could definitely go in and say, hey, here, if you want an origin story, this is the best time. They might do a little flashback to an origin story, because obviously for New 52 in particular, I'm thinking of like Batman. We don't need to see Batman's death happen. But if you want to read Swamp Thing and know that there's only going to be 10 issues of this story, this might be your origin story, because obviously this is a brand new person. I just wanted to say kudos to him, and that it was really good. And I would say go check out the Swamp Thing. But yeah, let's get into the news real quick. Again, that was what I was doing. But yeah, all right. For news, E3 2021 is taking place June 12th through the 15th. Is a free virtual event this year. Companies including Nintendo, Xbox, Capcom, Konami, Ubisoft, Take-Two Interactive, and Warner Brothers are coming, and no Sony. And which is, for E3, that's no brainer or no surprise, but also after a pandemic and this next story, I think, a couple stories. I'm more surprised Sony doesn't maybe for this year we'll come back to E3, but also, maybe they just don't want to cut the spending into this virtual shit, since they're going to do their own virtual shit anyway. But I digress. I mean, it's okay. It's glad to know that we're going to get another block of information and gaming trailers and all that fun jazz coming in June 12th. So looking forward to it. Just more. Again, no Sony. But more Sony news. The PS5 has a first-person survival horror game trailer revealed called Abandon. And this week, or it's from the studio Blue Box Studios. The game trailer kind of flared up fans thinking that it was a Hideo Kojima game in disguise. Blue Box replied and said, no, that we're a real studio. This is our first game, and hope you like it. And then with that coming out, and then also Jeff Grubb opening his big hairy mouth and said he agrees with Blue Box's statement, because the last thing he heard was that Hideo Kojima is in talks with Microsoft to have them publish his next game. And that is why Phil Spencer had Kojima Studios mascot next to the Xbox symbol in the last Zoom presentation he was in. So yeah, right now, we are, as a PlayStation fan, because there's going to be more to this. There's more. PlayStation news was booming this week that involved Sony not saying a fucking word. But the idea of if they lose Hideo Kojima on this, I think it'd be, without them knowing, it does hurt. Because the next story involving, but the idea of you are missing the point of PlayStation, especially for what you were promoting for the years before, like with the PS4, and even on the end game of PS3, where you had moments like when Sean Layden was talking about a game that said, he goes, it didn't sell millions, but it wasn't about the millions. It's about making games that are good. Because the next story kind of definitely shows that they're going to a wrong direction of what they, when trying to do or set up for the past, 10 years? Of stick to what I'm trying to explain. Of how it makes it sound. Not saying they are, but the idea of we're dealing with a PlayStation now that does not rebuttal in time. They used, it was kind of cool when they first said it. We're going to let the games have the decision. Oh, fuck. But apparently Bloomberg, so this is Jason Schreier, has been kind of doing a whistleblowing feeling of Naughty Dog apparently is working on a Last of Us remake for PS5. Who asked for this? I have no idea who. There's no need for it. But we'll just say the whole thing that I found, all the information. Bigger news here, though, is that Sony seems to be prioritizing big teams with big games above all these. A heavy focus on this, only it seems. Also, according to Schreier's Bloomberg piece, Days Gone, despite being a profitable game, will not receive a sequel, possibly due to production issues and critical reception. There's also a new Uncharted game in development by Naughty Dog, which a team of Ben Studio had helped with until they feared to get absorbed by Naughty Dog and asked to be taken off the project. They are not working on their own new game. If you want to learn more, you can always go to Bloomberg and read more of Schreier's full piece here, which which more or less confirms that many have expected a big shift towards big games with less space for smaller projects and teams, which also explains how right now even Studio Japan for PlayStation has been doing like I don't want to say like eroding. They're like, it's evaporating. Like the team it's slowly just diminishing. It's going into nothing. They're just not closing it compared to other studios, maybe because it's Japan. But yeah. So, with that, with that shit in mind, it is rough in my eyes. They're, again, hear me out. I know that they are doing more promotions. They let like third-party teams have like some spotlights. They've done like, Five Nights at Freddy's, fucking Security Breach, Shifu. But they're making like third parties take the bullet on these smaller games. But it's hard. It's hard to like say, oh yeah, that's the right move, because you have a legacy of these smaller games. Like if let's say we even skipped like a 2-year advance of what their plans were, would we have even had Medieval Remake? For no reason. I know it was a different, are they maybe like that? Maybe that might be the opportunity we might see. Maybe, like, what is going to happen to the Concrete Genie team that they own? Like, I'm just nervous for those teams, because that's the teams that I like, because they're like the heart. And then, maybe not the heart, they're like the soul of the PlayStation brand, where it's not about the millions. It's about the good fun of the game. And they just been they had this set of rules and like showings they did back when we had, Jackie T, obviously, Sean Layden. And now we have this, Jim Ryan's been there all this whole time, but now he's the spotlight man. You got fucking Shuhei, who knows? Is he doing postcards in the mail office? I don't know. They just don't have him as the spotlight man no more. They have this guy named, people call him Jim Lion Ryan. And that's not good to have as your leader. Even if he is maybe good financially, put him in the shadows. We need a person that can take the words, come out, rebuttal. Not saying that it just goes into that. It goes into they might be winning right now, but these are the stepping stones to show if they fail or they fall from their first place. If anybody cares, but secretly Xbox act like they don't, but they do. If they lose their fall from grace, these are the stepping stones you'll see. Just like any other company. Just like the idea, I'm old. So the idea of seeing like how Napster died. You see how this happened and this. You just see these things that are formed into place. Like even like that. Even like how Blockbuster. I watched that last Blockbuster. You see how they denied the idea of innovating. They try to stick to one path and like they think it's gonna, like for PlayStation. We're gonna stick to the big guys and we're gonna fucking spend money on remaking Last of Us 1? I don't know. It is crazy. But yeah, for for video game news, that's basically it for me of that. But I do want to do something different in the sense of I want to, I'd like to review the whole series of Amazon's Them. Them, it's more, if you maybe not know, I want to give you the synopsis, like the little description that they have on Amazon about it, and we'll break it down of, what my likes and don't likes of the show. And we'll see if you think I'm in the right ballpark of maybe being the guy discussing this. But Them is an anthology series that explores terrors in America. The first season, set in 1950s, centers around a black family who moved from North Carolina to an all-white Los Angeles neighborhood. Then the idyllic home becomes ground zero for a malevolent force next door and otherworldly threats to taunt, ravage, and destroy them. All right, let's get into more what I like and what I don't like of it, and I'll try to be my best, not be spoilery, but I think some of the discussion goes into spoilery, so that you understand where you understand that I've seen it, and I grabbed what they were trying to throw at me. But for pros, I like the family, the Emery family. I also, I like the actors and actresses, like the Deborah Eridine. I hope that's how you say her last name, who plays the mom, Lucky. And I also like, the father, who is Ashley Thomas, his real name, because he's also I think a UK musician named Bashy. But I like them. They did a really great job. Excellent, actually, acting. And I also want to say I like the cinematography of the show. It gives you that dreary, and it gave you that movie feeling, and it gave you that dreary horror feel, but there's more into that than I think. I do like, I want to say the end, I want to say that more as a spoiler or non-spoilerish way. The ending felt okay. I'm not saying it knocked my socks off, but yeah. And then I know this is going to be the pros, and it's going to sound really weird right here if you never watched it, but I think they also did an alright job handling blackface in this show. Right now, I bet money I lost some people hearing that. But the idea of how they used the blackface idea in the show, I thought was pretty good, or pretty well done. And I'm more saying this in the pros. I'm not, because I'm not stupid. I also like the other woke shit that they put in there. I like the hearing the white people in this whole show, every single white person almost had to correct themselves when they are discussing about the Emery family, because they always the main Karen of this fucking street is played by Allison Pill, but she did a really good job in the sense of being a Karen. I'm not saying it was head over heels for them, because she was a side thing. She didn't even do that well compared to the Emery family's casting. But the idea that in this show, the show was created by this author named Little Marvin. So I'm not saying it bad like that, but I caught what you're trying to say. White people corrected their way of discussing black people when they always went from I or me. Because they're selfish. White people are selfish. And the idea that they always had to correct themselves and say, oh, we think we should be worried. Instead of saying, I'm worried. They went, we should be worried about the Emery family. They said some other shit, but I'm not going to get like that. But, okay. That's some positiveness. I also, but I think when you watched it, you understand, like, that's pretty much that they got from me. What I don't like how long the show is. There are 10 episodes. And when you watch it, and I hope somebody will catch on to what I'm trying to say, this show would be better and put better on a list if it was like 7, maybe 8 episodes. You could cut out 2 episodes. And you could probably cut out 3 episodes if you do episode 5, which is by far, in my opinion, the worst one. Not because of how would I word it? It's the worst because they just made it for no reason. The first half of episode 5 is definitely the info dump and what I like to call, quote unquote, white trickery. But then the second half is literally an extended version of basically the horrible scene or the horrible situation that happened to Lucky in North Carolina to give him a reason to go to California. And I'm more saying that as a father, I don't need to see that. And I'm more saying it for a trigger warning. This show is definitely has some very triggery things. But the idea of, I liked how episode 1 gave me the events of North Carolina without showing to me, so I could think of something, I guess, bad, or like the idea of, I don't need, like, episode 5, I'm going to say right here, because it catches you off guard. It's the middle of the fucking season. But it is something like, they did it in the way like, oh, you didn't think Lucky got raped? No, she did. Here, let's show you to it. Oh, do you need to know what happened to the baby boy? In a very graphic of showing you what happened to this baby boy, why, they only have 2 daughters now. Here you go. You can watch it now and see. You see why they left North Carolina? I didn't need to fucking see it. I already knew. I understood how. And I think also the length of the series makes this go in the negative, because I understand what it's for. The show is obviously about, let's show you all the shit they're going through with racism. But this is like a full throttle 10 episodes with no time for the Emerys to catch a breath against racism, which I know that is what we're trying to express. But the idea of, they made the characters look so weak because they could do nothing. And I think with the idea of, like I said, Lovecraft Country is definitely something that snuck in and took the fire from this show, Them, to show like a way to deal with racism without beating you over the head and saying, look at what these crackers are fucking doing all the time. Because, like, the idea of Lovecraft Country at least gave them power. You had. And then this show is not supposed to be like an action show like Lovecraft, but, like, without them doing it, Lovecraft Country was able to still tell you, you know what's more scary than these monsters? These fucking white people. Now you have Them does it the opposite way. Hey, I know you have a ghost in your house, but you know what's worse? All these fucking white people. And like the fucking ghost is only in it for like 1 episode to show his origin story for no reason. Like, fuck. And the rest he's having a smoke break just waiting for Lucky to come back home. It's really odd. But even like that, episode, but yeah. I think Them falls victim from, like I said, having 3 other, and then there's many more to explain, but there are 3 other shows and movies that came out that gave us this story and a little bit better solutions at the end. But yeah, that's why, but I did finish it, of course, and it was okay. I'm more curious on, like, this is why also, I don't know why, I think this might goes into a negative. This is an anthology series. So I know, of course, Little Marvin is the producer and stuff, but without me knowing, anthology usually means might be going into another family. Okay. So, are we going to have another family situation where it's just so fucking over the top shit to go through? Or could we go into knowing more about the Emerys, since now we just got them a whole season and they actually got some empowerment at the end. Literally at the end. I'm not trying to sound mean like that, but the idea that we can progress with them in this neighborhood now. But I like to also say, like, what would I would fix? And it goes into that thing. I would cut it up. This story would be better. I think this would have been a really good movie instead of a TV show. Because 8 hours, now, when I say 8 hours, because they're like 40 minutes long, so I'm going to draw it down. But like 8 hours worth of fucking oppression of this caliber was rough. Now put this baby in 2 hours, we might have something here. At least then, like, you want a full throttle fucking racism stuff, I can see you there. But yeah, even like other, I forgot to even mention that. Like, there's even another movie on Netflix called His House that does it, I heard, a little bit better than this. But I want to, it is good, but it's not, it would not be if it's in my top 5, it's only because we're cutting it into, like, hey, what do you think is the best in the past 3 years or 4 years of content of this situation? Maybe, but it's not that, it's okay. I also I guess it also is doing what its job doing. It's making people around the world discuss about it and want to maybe get more of it, but also at the same time, it's rough. It's really hard. And I'm not saying it as, that's another thing I heard. It was like, hey, good luck, white people, white critics. Good luck trying to say you like this show or not. It is okay. How would I fix it? I do want to say, without, like, I know I said it already, but it's a very big thinker movie. It's one of those ones, but, like, it's not think enough to make you think. It's still a pretty shallow thinking. Episode 9 is the origin of the ghost, and it literally happened so fucking quick for this person to switch to a bad guy for no reason. I'm like, whoa, what happened? And then it's not being fancy. Apparently, without me remembering the town's name, but apparently the town's name of this old western town where the ghost is from, basically in English turns into be basically Phantom. I'm like, oh, come on, man. You didn't think that hard about that. But it's just some situational. If this was cut down 8 episodes, I think we would have something here that I could discuss and go, like, you know what, this is pretty good. But it is okay, and like I said on a tweet, I gave it a 3 out of 5. It's not terrible. It's just not as good as the other examples. And I just more want to say, if you are very squirmy, it's more for a trigger warning. Just be careful with it, because, like, it is over the top about racism, sexism, classism, fucking rape. I'm going to say right here, because it isn't, like, infant death. Some, just some very, I'm not saying it never happened, so I'm not saying like that. But yeah, just be careful if you are a triggery person. But like I said, 3 out of 5. And I just don't know also if this helps the community they're trying to help, or the idea of, is it just a cat? I'm not saying he did it, but the idea of, does this help open the door for more cash grabs of this just always black struggle and black horror? That's not like that we've had black horror before, but the idea of, just what's the word? Does it open the door for back when what was it? Hostel came out, they call it gore porn. So the idea of is it just going to be? Is this showing that this is what all Hollywood likes, is black struggle porn? Is that because that's the only part I want to take away from that. It's okay, but I really hope we can continue having these struggle movies, but not at this caliber of intensity, to then just become it just becomes like that basically black gore porn. I'll say it like that. But yeah, that was basically it for this episode. Of course, we're gonna end off with hot picks this week for music. Actually, this moment in time, I didn't want to say it like that at the beginning, but hey, I want to say rest in peace to DMX. He is definitely one of my favorite rappers growing up. I was a hairpin too little to grab the first 4 albums when I was growing up. But I remember going to the store when it was freshly brand out Grand Champ. I still have it. Well, growing up, I always liked how he rapped, and I never comprehended the struggle and the pain in his voice and all that shit growing up. Yeah, obviously he's one of my favorite fighters from Def Jam Vendetta, for a nerdy way of looking at it. But growing up now and being a father, I understand the whole, I get it now, man. And that's why, for a hot pick, for an honorary hot pick, I picked DMX Slippin' for, rest in peace, Earl. I think it's Simmons. And then also, just more so, keep on the brand of what I do. Also picked Baby, About That Life from Cluner. He's a master of the hook. But yeah, congrats to that. And then for TV and movie, I also picked from Netflix. I didn't know this came out yet. This anime called The Way of the House Husband. It is probably the most funniest anime I've watched in the past couple years. It is. I didn't know that. I just hit play and let it go. It was only 5 episodes, but it does this thing each episode's 5 mini skits. I'm gonna call them, but it's about this ex-yakuza called the Immortal Dragon. He just becomes a house husband, but it's that over the top. It's from what's the gentleman's name that's in the tag? It's a Gokushuda joint, and it is it's by far very funny. And also, just so people knows, we're 3 episodes into the new season of My Hero Academia, so make sure you're plugged in, because it already looks pretty good. I don't like this last episode I just watched, which was 2 days ago. I hate when they get they do all this talking and then they get into the right before the action starts and they're like, all right, see you next week. I'm like, God damn, I want some more. Oh yeah. For comics, there's a lot of comics, of course, every week, so we're obviously going to do it like that. For Marvel, Dark Hawk 1. So there's going to be another Dark Hawk series coming through. And also, it is the 30th anniversary. There are some variants that have that tag in there, so maybe it might be worth something down the road. Another one I saw that I looked like Spider-Man Spider's Shadow. Kind of looks like a, I want to say what if, but it looks like it's just a Venom Spider-Man storyline that looks pretty good and interesting. For DC, Batman the Detective. This is the 6-issue Tom Taylor series that's coming out. A bunch of variants for that. Joker 2, because I think we already said Joker 1, but Joker 1 was so fucking good that I want to say Joker 2 so everyone knows this Wednesday, the 14th, Joker 2 comes out. Make sure you go pick it up. From Image Comics, there is this comic that caught my eye called Home. And it looks like to me, without me having any information about it in front of me, it looked like an immigrant story of these two brothers and sister, Mexican family, Mexican, descent, trying to, get home. Maybe I'm wrong, but also this is how it looks. They have backpacks and shit. And it looked like for a quick second, one of them has powers. But I've seen praise for it, so I just wanted to more say it out there for Home and for IDW. Kanto, the City of Giants, and then Lock and Key Cross Sandman Universe. That looks really cool. Lock and Key is obviously a Netflix show now, but the first season or the first series is obviously Lock and Key is made by Joe Hill, Stephen King's son. And the Sandman universe, so this is the IDW cross DC crossover book. And obviously it's going to have, Neil Gaiman's Sandman going into and getting keys and stuff for his universe. So it's very interesting. And I think it's going to be a pretty good run. We'll see how it goes. But then another one, more for a teaser. We're going to talk, again, this is the bonus episode for Wednesday. But if you guys could, you guys should also check out this movie or book that's coming out on the 14th. It is from Behemoth Comics, Damian Connelly's You Promised Me Darkness. This has a bunch of variant-ish comics or covers coming out. And I was very fortunate to read the first issue. And I'll even just say right here for I'll even do a quick grade right here too. But I'm going to be able to talk to him. I'm going to tell him this in front of him. Because he's also this comic is written, illustrated by just Damian. And this is his first international comic. He is from Argentina. And he definitely has put in some weirdness. And when I say weirdness, we're talking about like good weirdness, like Gerard Way's Umbrella Academy or Doom Patrol, or even like old Doom Patrol before Gerard. Just obviously he's more current in my thoughts. Style. This style is how would I word it? The style of the artwork is like a street graffiti that involves, like, let's say a white board, and is just black paint, but like the black paint is like it's like those weird leaf cutouts where you can make a cutout out of a leaf, but it involves some parts of the paint thing goes into the main big background so it holds up so you can make a face into it. It has like that style of the black is like a plant stamped on there. And you can see where every part of the black connects to like the kid's face goes to the brick wall and all this stuff. It looks very cool. A very weird, trippy style. And the story, I'm not going to spoil it here because I'll probably talk about it on the Wednesday before it'll be on the same day as New Comic Book Day. But the story is by far the most craziest info dump style that I've read. But I'm also going to discuss with him. I don't know if it might be also him trying to translate from his native language, Spanish, to like in more English style, but it is good, and it has a hook to it to keep progressing. But I guess I'll say it here for the synopsis. Like, Halley's Comet, every 75 years, crosses Earth, and it also creates people with these auras, and then obviously they have they've had multiple generations by now, because this happened, like, it happened the first time the first generation happened in 1901, I believe they said. I'm having a brain fart thinking about that. And then, but the idea of it is crazy, and it involves, it's a save a world story, and it's really cool. And like the idea of, it's only 4 issues. Issue 1 comes out this Wednesday, and but yeah, I more say kudos to Behemoth to find Damien. Behemoth also has a Netflix a comic. They went to a Netflix series. Oh boy, MFKZ, which like it says on Netflix. But yeah, go check it out. And I forgot to say a grade. This first issue for You Promised Me Darkness, I want to give it say a 6.5 or 6.5. And I'll discuss it with him. Of course, I'm not going to hide this number from him. You know, I'll give it a 6.5. There is a lot of potential, but it's pretty good. It is very neat, and 6.5 out of 10 is still good. I say check it out, because also for even content wise, this is if the thing I read is right. For $3.99, 39 pages of art, and it's really neat art, like really good, cool, popping art. Again, I'm trying to be not so spoilery, but 6.5 is really good. But all right, that was this week's episode of the Cousin Cecil Show. Yeah, you guys can follow me at MikeFowler93, and then but yeah, until next time, be good to each other, and peace.